welcome back to the Sounds of Stadia Podcast for episode 107. You're joining myself, Chris, your host for the day, alongside the man of many pixels, returning once again, Mr. Richie.
How's everyone doing?
Everyone is fine. Everyone's recovered, Richie, from a beer festival that we went to, it would appear.
I wouldn't say I'm fully recovered. I need a few good nights sleep under my belt to fully recover.
We're at that age now where you need a few good nights sleep, not just the one to recover.
That's the thing. My hangover, despite how much we drank, and we drank a lot, wasn't that bad.
We did.
I kind of got up, had a shower, had some breakfast, then I got on with my day. I mean, my day didn't start till like 11 o'clock in the morning, but
that's a decent sleep.
But yeah,
we've got this thing for those who obviously don't know. We rank all the beers. So our plan is we get the menu, you get all the different beers and ciders and such, and we go through. You've got to rank it: happy face, sad face, middle of the road face, and then you sign it afterwards to say that you've tasted it and you've drank it and you've gone through it. We go as a group of friends, and we rinse them dry to a point where they were running out of the kegs, the bags and stuff for the cider. It was non-existent. We drank them dry, as you would say.
We got the platinum trophy at a beer festival. That's what happened. That was our Friday night.
Yeah, and that was a rough one. And we went to the Friday specifically.
Then we went for drinks after.
We did go for drinks afterwards as well. Of course, it's only natural. But so we went on the Friday specifically so we could bring you the Sounds of Stadia Podcast, episode 107, as fresh as we're possibly going to be at our current age. You're here, folks, of course, for all of your Stadia and gaming news, rounded up into an hour or so conversational show. We've got a great, fantastic show lined up for you. We're talking about brand new AAA titles coming to the platform, some new game ratings, some Stadia and Google blessings onto teams that have now left, Richie. They've left the ecosystem. You might have heard about it. Stadia Games Entertainment was closed way back in February, but there's still news to talk about with that one. We've got some exciting new updates coming as well, alongside all of the usual chitter-chat that we do here. So if you haven't done so already, do us a favour and click like on the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and click that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the things we do here at Helix Cloud Games, such as this very podcast, our SideQuest conversational episode, Richie. We launched last week with our very brand new intro. If nobody's seen our brand new intro, it's available now to go check out. We've reinvested in the channel, as we always promise to do. We've got a brand new intro where me, Richie and Tom, we dressed as little Indiana Jones characters. One of us got the whip, one of us got the hat, one of us has got the idol, and we essentially steal a Stadia controller, just like the famed Indiana Jones scene, and then we get chased by a giant Stadia boulder until obviously I'd like to think we survive. I know we fall at the end.
It's a literal cliffhanger.
Not we're not hanging on. But it's great. And we've always said we want to make the best quality Stadia content we can here. The channel, of course, is 100% Stadia focused. We don't play anything else. We're just here for Stadia. Just as I imagine a lot of you viewers and listeners out there are too. So we just wanted to shout that out. I know we did it as part of the charity stream last week, but yeah, we're thrilled with it. It looks great. It's got its own little theme tune now. We're trying to differentiate the shows a little bit. So go check out SideQuest. We've got a great show lined up this week where, Richie, we're going to be talking about...
where should Stadia expand to next?
Where should they expand to? Because it's a bit of a slow burn at the moment, and some of the competition's starting to move things on. So check out SideQuest. If you are a member on the channel, you can get that up to 6 days early. Drops on Sunday afternoons UK time. If you just can't wait till Friday, then it drops on free feeds. But Richie, everyone's here for the Stadia and gaming news. Before we dive into all that, we do need to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody who tuned in last week for our 15-hour charity stream. I don't think we actually tallied up how long we went for in the end, but
it was definitely at least 14 hours.
Yeah, we went all day playing. We say all day, it just rounds it up. Playing in hope to raise some money and some funds for the Alzheimer Society. We've said it before on the many podcasts leading up to it, but yeah, Alzheimer's, dementia, horrible disease, debilitating, and yeah, just all around horrible stuff. But we wanted to raise some money, and ourselves and the Stadia community, you did yourselves immensely proud last week. We raised a grand total, including gift aid, £1,187.74, for an amazing cause. So give yourselves a massive round of applause out there. You're all amazing, wonderful people, and we can't thank you enough for your time, your energy, your effort, and more importantly, your donations to such a great, fantastic cause. And we should say, Richie, we did it in partnership with our good friend John Scar over at John Scar, for Scar Gaming, I should say, as part of his ongoing charity kind of community get-together for the whole month of October. Stadia content creators all over the globe are raising money as part of the Caring from the Clouds initiative. It's still going. It went yesterday, October the 16th at the time of recording. They had Rock, Project Storm, Clive, Vivi, Scooterama, Vet and Stadia France all taking part to raise funds for various different charities, and that's continuing as well next week. So October 16th, check out John's channel. He's got a website up with all the descriptions and the links you will need for more Stadia and gaming fun, and more importantly, great causes, raise money. Richie, we said off camera beforehand, but we're thrilled with how much we raised. Like, we set the bar at 1,000, and these guys, these viewers and listeners, just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Smashed it.
Yeah, absolutely smashed it. Put such a smile on our face. And the final, when we were trying to wrap up at the end of the stream, and donations just kept coming through as we were trying to say goodbye, and everyone was just wanting to knock it that little bit further up. So yeah, it's very, very heartwarming, and thank you very much out there. But let's move all that to the side, Richie. We want to move into the gaming news. That's what we're here to talk about every week. And I want to personally know, I know you've been playing Persona 5 still. I know it's not a Stadia game, but can you tell the people out there how many hours you've now put into Persona 5?
I definitely racked up a lot more hours yesterday because that's pretty much all I did.
As you recovered from the BFS?
Yeah, I got a few jobs done in the early afternoon because I didn't actually really experience the morning. And then I pretty much played Persona 5 till about 3 in the morning. It's well and truly got its hooks in me, but I'm over 60 hours.
That'll do it. 60.
I'm going to try and finish this save in under 100.
Okay.
I think my first playthrough, I clocked in about 130 hours to get to credits.
Wonderful.
Now, 130 hours, that's a platinum for most games.
Yeah. Valhalla and stuff will get your sexy platinum on that one. But yeah, any Stadia games you've been checking out?
Not really. I played the odd game of FIFA, but it's pretty much been all Persona all the time.
Persona all the time. Well, I'm finished with Mass Effect 3 now. Finished that trilogy. Absolutely loved it. It's right up your street, Richie, if you ever sort the audio problems out and you can get back to it.
I do intend to go back and actually play Mass Effect 2. Maybe that's what I'll jump into after Persona.
Oh, yeah, it was so good. Like, the characters, the planets, the world building, the gameplay. I know 3 had loads of controversy.
Yeah.
When it came out originally, I think the ending upset a few people. I actually thought 3 had the best gameplay, some of the best story beats. Obviously, all the DLC is included with this Legendary Edition, so parts that were missing from the original game are now folded into the main story, and it's very much seamless. You wouldn't even be able to tell it's DLC. But yeah, I loved it. Like, the ending, okay, I get what people had problems with, but I personally thought it was fantastic, and the build-up of all 3 titles made me very intrigued to go check out Andromeda, because I know that got a bit of stick, even though it probably didn't deserve as much. And I'm really excited for Mass Effect 4, whatever that looks like, the next one, because I'm guessing they're going to go back to Shepard and the crew in some way, shape or form. But not on Stadia. I've been playing FIFA. Been delving with that. Started my career mode now. Working my way up through all the different leagues. Loving the just accessibility of it. The Razer Kishi in my phone are just a match made in heaven. Stadia, boot it up, play wherever I need to. When I'm on a lunch break, when I've got 20 minutes here or there. All I'm doing is doing a game, looking at the transfer window, doing a few training sessions, closing it down, and then it's back to being a phone. Pop the Kishi in my bag. Done. Absolutely wonderful. Now, this is the dream of what I've wanted Stadia for. And I have started Far Cry 6 as well. I've only done maybe 3 or 4 hours on that one, so I'm just off the first island. More Far Cry, but we'll get into some more first impressions as we get to the news. Final shout out before we do get to that. We do have our competition winner, by the way, from our stream last week. We threw all the names, everyone who donated. We told you if you donate, you're in the hat. Drew it into the hat to get the gift of our Google Nest Mini 2nd generation. Prizes and giveaways, of course, we give out plenty of game codes. It is going to one Danni Gallagher won the prize. I will drop in the video here of the spin wheel so you can see we didn't just make it up. And yeah, congratulations, Danni. Reach out to us, hit us up on Twitter, and we'll get your address details and we'll get this prize shipped out to you. So thank you for listening, for donating, and taking part. But Richie, everyone is here for the Stadia's weekly news. So if you could do us the honours and introduce the
super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka
the news.
The news.
Why the pause?
I don't know. I was going to be a bit playful. I'm going to pause and see if you just see what I
do. Well, I'd already started playing the animation, so
yeah,
nothing, folks. Yes, news time, and thank you to our wonderful members out there. You guys sponsor the news every week. We come back and chat Stadia as a hobby, but we do it for you lovely listeners and viewers out there. So special shout out to every single one of our members, Richie, all members of the Helix Cloud Games membership club. And we've got some new people. Special shout out to Toby Rogers, Sonny from Sunny Cloud Gaming. Congrats on the 20k again, our friend. And one Cookie McCrumble as well, who joined us a lot for the charity stream last week. So
arguably the most delicious of all of our members.
Let's not judge, Richie. We don't know what they taste like. But yes, 3 new members join us. You guys, of course, now get access to stickers in the chat, special Stadia stickers, exclusively to use. You get access to SideQuest episode 6 days early, and a couple of videos we've still actually got up there that are not on free feeds yet, such as another game of Stadia Scopes up there to watch, and sometimes some first looks. But more importantly, you get a lovely premiere edition next to your name, and you help support the channel a little bit more. So you wonderful people, support the news. And Richie, what a week it's been for Stadia news. Let's kick things off with story number 1. Ubisoft, Stadia's best friend arguably, bedfellows, some would even say, kicking the week off with a celebration stream of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon for their anniversary. And they went ahead and, of course, just announced yet another game coming to the platform. So story number 1, Ghost Recon Frontline, coming to Stadia, confirmed, part of Ubisoft Plus as well. Ubisoft has announced Ghost Recon Frontline, a new free-to-play class-based installment in its long-running tactical military shooter series. Frontline will offer a variety of modes, but its flagship offering, available at launch, will be Expedition, a 102 large-scale mode where teams of 3 players compete and complete objectives before calling for extraction. There's also going to be a secondary mode, which will offer 9v9 point-based systems, but details, obviously, we don't know the full. They haven't given the full breakdown of it yet, but essentially they revealed it as part of the stream. They've said it's not a traditional arena-based shooter, so there will be no PUBG-esque ring bringing it down. I think you just got to fight to the death by the looks of it. They're going to be offering season-by-season content, but more importantly, and I'm sure everyone at Stadia cried out with a sigh of relief, Richie, when they told us it's going to come with crossplay as well. With a 102 player map, you probably do want crossplay in this scenario. You've checked out the trailer, Richie. You've seen some of the gameplay now. What do we think of Ghost Recon Frontline?
Well, as a Stadia player, this is a game genre that we're kind of crying out for. We have PUBG. That's the only real big first-person shooter multiplayer game we have. Well, PUBG, you could argue, is third person. You kind of have a choice in the matter. So to have a shooter, to have a battle royale, to have a hero... Well, it's not hero-based, is it?
No, just a team of 3. It's almost like they've took PUBG and Apex and kind of merged them into one.
Yeah, I think it's good for the platform. Ubisoft are clearly, this is part of their strategy to try and get more of these persistent online games out there, these multiplayer titles. So free-to-play, fantastic for the platform as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So literally, this game on Stadia is entirely free to play. Just open your laptop, whatever you've got, and you can play the game when it comes out.
Yeah.
It will not cost you an extra penny.
Yeah, I'm sure the game is going to have a lot of cosmetic items and some kind of loot crate system, but
it'll have loot boxes, it'll have a season pass, probably. For
the Tom Clancy games love the little keychain things on your weapon as well.
Yeah.
So you get those.
But as long as these, I have no issue with cosmetic DLC as long as it's not impactful in the game. As long as there's no pay to win mechanics, that's the issue I have in multiplayer games and additional content.
Which I don't think it's definitely got.
I don't think Ubisoft are really known for doing that. I think EA are a bit, but especially like Battlefront 2 was terrible. The multiplayer experience on that was terrible when they launched because of the star cards. basically spend a lot of money, get better cards, and then you just can't be beat.
Yeah. But in terms of the gameplay, it's receiving mixed reactions because I think Ghost Recon fans were expecting another single player entry. Breakpoint didn't do as well as Ghost Recon Wildlands. They know that, we know that. So I don't think this is the next entry necessarily in the Ghost Recon series. I think it's just classic Ubisoft, take the Tom Clancy name, spin it off into something different. Yeah.
They're using IP they have access to put it on. And I think with this being a Ghost Recon game, that kind of points you in the right direction. Okay, this is the sort of area of the Tom Clancy spectrum that you're looking at for this game.
Yeah, it's like you kind of know what to expect. As soon as you put Ghost Recon on it and Tom Clancy, you're like, right, I'm picturing Division-esque third-person shooter. You've told me it's with two other people, which, Richie, that's perfect for you, me, and Tom. 3 is the magic number, as they would say. And it looks fun and it's free, so I don't have to worry about dropping £50-60 to enjoy it. I can just play it with
Ubisoft,
friends.
so it has like cross progression.
Cross progression, and like we said, but more importantly, cross play with other platforms. Yeah. So Amazon Luna's included, all the Xbox, all the PC people, and all the PlayStation people are very much included. There's only Nintendo, I think, missing out on this one. But a few more details we've got. So they've came out again and just clarified that Battle Royale is a genre. It knows that, but it's not going to be very far away from your traditional Battle Royale. So again, 100 plus people.
This is the Ghost Recon take on the Battle Royale. That's what you're getting.
Exactly, yeah. We're free to play.
At least for probably the 102 modes. The other modes that come later. It almost feels like they're making this as a platform with introducing probably more modes as it goes on.
Yeah, so they've said we are free to play. We are a tactical action massive PvP shooter is what we want to call it. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue as easy as Battle Royale, but yes, they've clarified it's our own very personal take on a massive PvP shooting scene done in the Ghost Recon universe. We always wanted to do something different. We didn't want to come to the market with the same thing as everybody else. Also, the Expedition mode, they've said, which is going to come, maybe not at launch, is similar to Escape from Tarkov, which is your more classic Battle Royale. So again, with different modes comes different variations, but evidently they're putting all their eggs at launch in this basket of this kind of like Apex kind of fight till survival thing. I like the thought that it doesn't have a ring, because the ring closing in just very much puts it in the Battle Royale category for me. Like, this will be different if it is just survival of the kind of last man standing kind of deal. In terms of the way the game actually looks and plays, I am very much just expecting more Ghost Recon-esque thing. Maybe with less weapons, I guess, loadout wise, but looks great.
Yeah, for the time being, I'm assuming that you'll find the classic Ghost Recon weapons dotted around the map, like the initial scavenging phase of any Battle Royale.
Certainly. If I was to put my cynical hat on, as we can all do that, if this doesn't land great at launch, is it because I'm thinking of Ubisoft now, right? They've obviously, they said last year or maybe even this year, they're trying to branch out into less single player content and more continuous world evolution. We've seen it with all the Assassin's Creed games, like the season pass, it gets a year 2, year 3. We've seen it with Rainbow Six Siege. I think that's paved the way for Ubisoft thinking this way. They have Frontline. We've got X-Defiant. Remember, that's a thing. We've got Extraction, X-Defiant. We've got Riders Republic coming. So they've got tons of games in the works. Remember Hyperscape?
Nope.
It makes me think, like, if this doesn't land, how long before it's just forgot about?
Yeah.
Like, one of these is going to fall by the wayside. My money personally is on X-Defiant. I think if you've got Siege, why would you not just play Rainbow Six Siege or Extraction when that comes out?
Siege is very. It's a very. I think X-Defiant's a bit more like meant to be a bit more closer to a Call of Duty, a bit more that arcadey shit. Where Siege is very, very tactical. It's very precise in the way you have to play that game. Which I think there's great space for these in the market. But that's one of the things I think's always made Siege stand out, is that the way the game plays isn't like a Call of Duty, despite it being a first-person shooter.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it out still.
X-Defiant, I think, is potentially the weakest, because everyone likes a Battle Royale. Ubisoft Battle Royale, that's going to garner attention. So the thing is, if this is good, I think they just kind of need to make sure this is really polished for launch. If they drop it and it's polished, everyone's everyone in your nan's going to jump in this game to check it out, especially with a free-to-play with crossplay. There's no reason for people to not check it out.
Yeah.
And if it's polished on launch, it'll get a good reputation. If it's a bit rough around the edges, maybe people go, I'm going to wait till it kind of picks up a bit, and then it gets forgotten about.
Yeah, you almost wonder, because when games launch, they obviously have that initial boon of people coming in and testing it out and playing it. And if it lands well, everyone saw with Apex Legends, like if you do it right and the product is polished, it can just land. Like Apex is huge now. This is the thing. It's entering a crowded market space, so it needs to be polished and it needs to have something that distinguishes it from the other ones. Because otherwise, why not play Warzone? Why not play Apex? Why not play Fortnite? Why not play PUBG? That's it.
These are all games that exist in the space that this is trying to enter.
Yeah, and I think you can guarantee with Ubisoft as well, like this game is going to look more polished than PUBG. Even though PUBG is like several years old at this point and it's had several updates, it's still not going to look as good because of the kind of clout Ubisoft and their engine can bring with it.
PUBG is one of them games. It's got a certain amount of jank to it, but the jank gives it character.
It does, yeah. I do like some of the jank in PUBG.
If PUBG came... Sorry to the guys working over PUBG, but if PUBG came out now, it would flop. I think it came out at the right time. That it was the first Battle Royale to really make it big.
Yeah.
And then the bigger, more polished versions of PUBG came out later.
Indeed. I'm excited to play this. We should point out as well, if you want to test it out, there is a PC kind of open beta phase going on. You can sign up on Ubisoft's website now, aiming for around the 14th of October, so not that long away, actually. They haven't put a date on when this game will release, Richie. I'm guessing this is going to be quite a quick turnaround time. I don't see the benefit of them announcing it now, and if it's not out by the end of the year. I can't imagine this is going to be like something they announce and then you'd not see it until next summer, maybe. I think with Battle Royale, I think when you announce a Battle Royale, it kind of has to be a quick turnaround, otherwise people are going to forget about it.
I don't know, with it being October already, I can see this being early next year, and I think we might see some more of this at the Game Awards.
Good shout.
I think a gameplay trailer at the Game Awards with a date for early next year could work well in its favour.
Because that's the thing when it's...
Start next year, it's really stacking up.
Oh, it's such a busy year for games.
It's a good job I'm optimistic about everything getting delayed.
Yeah, just keep pushing. Everything...
Yeah, please just delay some games.
Yeah, everything announced for next spring will not hit that spring date. It will get pushed back again. Yeah. But so much stuff. We're not even there, close yet. I think something else is probably going to get pushed from this year, but we'll see. I've heard the Battlefield demo, actually. I know it's not Stadia related. Fingers crossed it will come. We're still waiting on it. It's the 19th of November it's supposed to launch, which is Stadia's birthday, remember. Everyone who played the open beta, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say it's actually quite rough still, and it could do with a bit more time in the oven. So Battlefield could get pushed again, but we won't talk about that too much. Ghost Recon, another entrant into the entry. Yeah, that's the right word. Entrant, yeah. Into the Ghost Recon at Ubisoft, Tom Clancy's expanded universe. We'll definitely be checking that out on the channel, and I'm looking forward to it more so than I am X-Defiant. And in a weird way as well, I feel like the energy Extraction had is almost wavered a bit now because of the delay. My interest in Extraction is kind of I was really hyped for that.
I am still hyped. It's hard to be hyped for something when you don't know when it's coming. It's that initial hype of when I saw the announcement, this is going to be awesome. We're going to have a great fun playing this.
It had a date.
And it's it's been delayed. I can't remember when it's coming out.
I think it's January.
But it's it feels like it needs that closer at the time, that one more marketing push to just go, actually, guys, this is coming. You were excited for this.
Yeah, January 2022. Either way, we're going to get Ubisoft support. We know that, and of course, it's available as part of Ubisoft Plus 2. I'm going
to need to get Ubisoft Plus.
While we mention Ubisoft Plus, have you seen the delayed issues that people seem to be having with Ubisoft Plus, where the game's released on Stadia and it doesn't show up on Ubisoft Plus until a few hours later? So people are wanting to play Far Cry, and they could buy Far Cry in the store, but as part of the subscription, it's not showing up as part of it. I've seen a couple of people post pictures saying, is it not on Ubisoft Plus? And then all of a sudden it shows up a few hours later.
Maybe it's just one of the things. It just takes a little time for the whatever processors to fire off.
Yeah.
The fact, if it's only a few hours, it can, I get it can kind of suck if you've been at work all day. You go, I've got Far Cry, I'll get home. Far Cry, I'll get home. You get home, you have your tea, you deal with the kids. It's like it gets to like 8 o'clock in the evening. Right, I've got a couple of hours Far Cry, and it's not there.
Yeah, game.
That can be frustrating.
I mean, we've all had that with waiting for the mailman.
It's not. It's a minor issue, and it's not the end of the world, and I'm sure it'll be resolved in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually resolved like within hours of it happening, but I think it is just getting that pipeline cleaned out so everything is ready to drop at the stroke of midnight or whenever launch is. But we've got it now, anyway. So yes, speaking of things that Richie take a while to come here, we finally got another one of the Assassin's Creed games drops. So story number 2 for the week, Assassin's Creed Rogue, or Rouge, depending on how you spell it, is now available on Google Stadia for £24.99 UK currency. And the reason I say Rouge, Richie, is because the amount of times I type or spell Rogue out and have to double take him, like, have I wrote Rouge? Or
yeah, Assassin's Creed Rouge might be a very different game.
Assassin's Creed Moulin Rouge. Moulin Rogue, that would be a good movie. It's a big dance theatrical with Ewan McGregor, but he goes rogue and he kills everyone in the play.
He's just in the middle of the Moulin Rouge with a blade just stabbing people.
That would be a very different game. But yes, created by Ubisoft Sophia, the studio that developed the original Assassin's Creed Rogue has thankfully done a remaster on this one. It'll offer even more beautiful, immersive game experience that invites fans of the series and new players alike to discover or rediscover Shay's adventures in 18th century North America. So this is seen to be the darkest chapter in the Assassin's Creed history. Richie assumed the role of Shay, who is an assassin during the French and Indian War. He witnesses some cataclysmic events that force him to betray the Brotherhood. So you actually end up hunting down assassins rather than Templars for a change. Of course, this game did follow Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's one of the games that got stuck mid-generation. So when everybody else
didn't this Black Flag come around about the same time, but one was like PS3, one was PS4 as well.
Yeah, I think this was the PS3 version and Black Flag went PS4, if I recall rightly. So it's the same engine, it's the same kind of graphic levels, and it's the same gameplay. It's set around the same locations. But yeah, it's one of them. Funnily enough, this is one of the Assassin's Creed games I've never played.
I always think of Rogue as kind of the black sheep of the Assassin's Creed franchise, where it's like, I think it's one of the most like hardcore Assassin's Creed fans missed because of that generational shift that happened around it. But
yeah, I actually need to get the full list of the games here because I just need to.
And I suppose this was the first one that wasn't like a numbered Assassin's Creed as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
this because Black Flag is officially Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, isn't it?
Well, we had Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, which was a spin-off one,
which is Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood.
Yeah.
But
then Assassin's Creed Revelations, which was in my mind was 3, but then we got Assassin's Creed 3. So it kind of makes
it. An Assassin. The way I see it is, you got Assassin's Creed, then you got the Assassin's Creed 2 trilogy.
Yeah,
because they all focus on Ezio, they all tell Ezio's story. It's just split into 3 games. Yeah. Then you've got Assassin's Creed 3, and then Assassin's Creed 4, which is Black Flag. Yeah.
Which I always forget it's 4, because no one calls it 4. They just say Black Flag.
Yeah.
It's like, and this is where Ubisoft got this grand idea to go, let's just do a pirate game. We'll call it Skull and Bones, and we'll never release it. Like, that was their plan. Like, Black Flag came out so long ago, and yet we haven't seen essentially the spiritual successor to Black Flag, ironically. But yes, then we got... So it was Rogue, came out on PS3 and Xbox 360. Unity was the one that came out on the next-gen consoles that got loads of shit, which I actually really enjoyed Unity, and it was not buggy and problematic for me. But at the time, I did not have the money to buy 2 games. So yeah, I abandoned Rogue. And I'm genuinely looking forward to going back to it because I've got platinum trophies in all of these games, and I've never played Rogue for some reason.
We're entering we're entering the dark period of Ubisoft with like Unity and Syndicate. Unity, this is where like they're really ramping up things like microtransactions. They're completely done a U-turn a lot of this now, so it's all good now. But yeah, like things like this is where they're trying to churn out an Assassin's Creed game every single year, and like when Unity came out, especially on PC, that game was basically reviewed as don't buy this game because it's not done. Yeah. It needs like another like 6 months or something in the oven.
Well, this was
I think they eventually got it sorted, but it was like
too late.
This is I was very burnt out in Assassin's Creed at this point because after playing the Assassin's Creed 2 trilogy and then 3, I didn't finish because it was kind of a bit meh. I kind of just skipped 4.
Yeah.
It's like, and then like I was thinking about, I'll go back for Unity, and then Unity was terrible, so I was like, I'm not going to touch that game.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's an interesting one because Assassin's Creed Rogue was reviewed better than Unity was, even though it was on last gen consoles and such. But Unity fell off, annoyed loads of people, and then Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which came out the year after, is a lot of people's favourite Assassin's Creed game. It's like it reviews the best, the gameplay mechanics, the story, the Fry twins. Great, I really enjoyed that game, and yet because of that, they had to reboot, and sales fell off a little bit. I think Syndicate's one of the least selling titles.
Syndicate was under the shadow of Unity,
it was.
in my opinion, and I think I haven't actually played Syndicate, but from what I understand, it's kind of like it's like the pinnacle of the original era of Assassin's Creed.
That format, definitely.
If we think from like not Odyssey, Origins, if we think that as a reboot of the franchise, Syndicate was kind of the peak before that.
Yeah, it really was. And I would love us to still get the old style Assassin's Creed games like Syndicate, and then Origins, the reboot version, be its own thing, because I love them both in their own rights.
I'd even like things like Odyssey and Black Flag were more. You spent a lot more time on your boat than you did like sneaking up and assassinating people. So I think with Black Flag is when and probably Rogue as well, is probably when they really started moving away from the core concept of being an assassin.
Yeah, I know it's annoying.
Pirates Creed, just bring out Pirates Creed.
Yeah, need to do it
and just lean into the pirate element of it. It can be set in the same universe, same engine.
Yeah,
but you're a pirate.
Yeah, forget the Assassin's Creed stuff. But yeah, I would also love a world we live in where we get a Naughty Dog-esque single-player Assassin's Creed game where I have cutscenes, I have maybe character decisions and choices, because obviously they've leaned into the RPG, but the Assassin's Templar story, like the history and the culture it goes through, that's what hooked me in the original games. Is like, what, these Templars exist in my own history, and we can go back through DNA and experience their memories and live out our fantasies in like medieval times or ancient Rome, and it's like, the concept is so great, and they've got so far away from the telling a story.
Well, the modern day stuff is kind of pointless. I haven't played Origins, but I've played both Odyssey and Valhalla, and the modern day stuff it didn't add anything to the experience at all. Where the early games, like you going through Desmond's story at the same time you're going through Altair's or Ezio's, and you kind of seeing how these stories are interwoven.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I will check out Rogue. I think after I finish Far Cry, I think I have actually a bit of quiet time, Richie. I don't. Oh wait, there's Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it? And okay, well I might have to think about this. Not on Stadia, annoying enough. But either way,
I think for me, once I've rolled credits and Persona, I think it might be finally time to get that Ubisoft Plus subscription, because there's a lot of Ubisoft Plus Ubisoft games coming out. Like we've got, as we've been talking about, the Assassin's Creed. There's a handful I haven't played. Far Cry's out there. We've got the Tom Clancy stuff coming.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. The value of Ubisoft Plus is just going up. Like, it always will be. It's always going to go up and up with every new game they add to the library. Ubisoft Plus is just going to look even better. But yeah, if you ever want to have a first look at Syndicate or anything like that, Richie, I'm down for hanging out with you for that journey. But Assassin's Creed Rogue is remastered, is out now and available on the platform for around about £24.99. So go fill your pirate boots and set sail. With Eagles in mind, and Assassin's Creed, story number 3, the Falconeer has now finally launched. Of course, the Warrior Edition and the basic version available now. I was speaking to Tom actually over the weekend, Richie, and he's been playing the Falconeer as well. Really enjoyed it. He said it is a cross combination between essentially Star Wars Rogue Squadron and Panzer Dragoon, like merged together. Really enjoying it. I think the price is perfect for it. Again, £15.99. Terrific. Saw Through the Skies, of course, made by the one and only Thomas Sala, solo developer. He's given interviews about it on the platform. Nice to see it out. It's not personally one that I'm going to check out. If I'm honest, it's one that I probably believe is probably going to be a pro game before the end of the year. Unfortunately, it's in that category.
I don't know if it's before the end of the year, but because how close we are at the end of the year, but definitely next year, I reckon.
This will be a December pro game, I think.
We've talked about this before. This is how Stadia's conditioned us now for like these smaller titles. Is also to look as like, well, this is probably going to be a pro game soon. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that immediate pull, I need to play this now.
Yeah.
I do take the view that I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait see if it comes to Pro.
Well, especially with the new Pro, the way the developers get their money for Pro. It's just one guy, so he launches the game, gets all his initial people who buy the game, made you money. Come Christmas time, like that's what I'm theorizing. That's not fact. Come Christmas time, there it is on Pro, and this one guy gets the entire spike of revenue from it going Pro.
You know what? We should give him his due credit to make an entire game on your own to the level that it seems to be. That's phenomenal work.
It is. The indie games are so good. Like,
yeah.
But Falconeer out now. Go spread your wings and check it out because it does look really, really fun. But just at the moment, I'm absolutely skint. I don't know. I spent far too much buying beer over the weekend, ciders, everything else, and I bought Far Cry and amongst other things. Gonna start buying for Christmas already, Richie. It's that time of year.
I know that's it. The adultness is starting to kick in. It's like, we're getting towards the end of the year and Christmas is looming.
Yeah, you got to start planning for everything. It's great.
Things are returning to the normal in the UK, so we have actually started having a bit more of a social life as well. Yeah.
Which want to go to the cinema?
I mean, we've had a few nights out, and when you drop, I don't even know how much the drinks we're buying for in the bar, like on Friday night.
I will not look at mine.
I haven't got a clue. It was one beep of a card.
Yeah.
And I haven't dared look.
Contactless, especially at the festival because everything was chit tokens as well, so you actually don't know.
The festival wasn't too bad. It was like all the beers were served in halves, and there was like 150 for a half.
Pretty decent.
So it's about £3 a pint, which is fine.
Well, that's incredibly cheap. Anyone listening down in London is like, what? £3 a pint? I'm moving up north, but yes. Money well spent, and again, that's the kind of benefit of Pro though. Like, I don't have to spend money to play these games. I mean, I am spending money, you know what I mean, but I'm going to get a collection of titles to play. I've not checked out every Pro game this month yet, so we'll get there. We'll get around to it. Moving on, story number 4. Nice little, like, slightly different direction. We got a ESRB rating for Hunting Simulator 2, which, to describe it, with your hunting dog by your side, explore the Texan desert and forests of Colorado and Europe as you track down 33 animal species, choose your gear for over 160 official weapons, accessories and clothing items, stunning natural environments, explore the plains of those places I've described and track them down. It's simulator games, Richie. There seems to be a simulator game for every single hobby, enthusiast, interest possibly going.
Yeah, well,
if you like to do if you like to do paint by numbers, there will be a paint by numbers simulator game out there somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's sometimes the beauty of video games. It can turn something like a hobby into something you can more accessible for a lot of people. Like, maybe you like the concept of hunting, but you just don't live anywhere near where it's like viable. Mm-hmm. Then here you go. Here's a game for you.
And obviously, no animals have to die in this particular version of the of the sport. Yes, so it's the second entry. I'm not familiar with this franchise at all. Nope. I'm aware of Goat Simulator. I'm aware of Train Simulator and Surgeon Simulator and all of the other ones.
By the looks of it, it's nothing like Goat Simulator.
Yeah, not quite as wacky and wild.
It looks quite pretty, actually.
It does. It has. Again, all these simulator games have a decent element to them. Similar with like Farming Simulator. Like, it's not the most exciting thing to do, but you know what? It's fun to play, and there's definitely a market for these type of games out there, and they're sitting that AA space, but there's obviously enthusiasts out there. So go hunt. Good luck hunting. I don't think I'll ever end up hunting. It's not really a thing we do in the UK.
No, it doesn't.
It's not. I don't think we've got enough.
It doesn't appeal to me at all.
Land to do it. Clay pigeon shooting though, we definitely need to try that.
I could do something like that. Yeah.
Pull. Sound effects there. So yes, again, it's only an ESRB rating, but they're generally quite well. It came out originally back in July 2020. We'll probably see a release on the platform some point.
With an ESRB rating, if nothing else, that means there's intent to put it on the platform.
Intent. It's always the word. So moving away from some video game release news this week, let's talk about FIFA, Richie. We both bought FIFA 22 on Stadia. I'm really enjoying it. It plays wonderfully. I'm enjoying the portability factor, as I mentioned at the top of the show. However, EA, in a blog post, at least this week, that they might think in the future about changing the name. So, weirdly enough, reading from Eurogamer, they had a record-breaking launch of FIFA 22, and they are exploring the idea of renaming the franchise. So, we're reviewing our naming rights agreement with FIFA, which is separate from all other official partnerships and licenses across the football world. So essentially they obviously have to negotiate every year with the teams, the squads, the players for their likeness, and the clubs for their badges and the strips and the sponsorships. And I can imagine it's one hell of a pain in the ass to go through all these deals.
I dare say the bulk of the budget for a FIFA game goes on licensing agreements alone.
Oh yeah, I mean they've got, so again to reiterate, they go through and collectively have to get 300 individual licensed partners to give them access to over 17,000 athletes across 700 teams in 100 stadiums in over 30 leagues around the globe.
So if your favourite team isn't there, now you know why.
Now you know why. And of course, yes, they continually reinvest in the partnerships and the licenses to get the most meaningful players. They want the star players to have the true likeness, because it helps sell the game. The reality is these are celebrities, and if they don't look like the right people, it loses something. I've always leaned towards FIFA over other football games, soccer games, because of the license and the likeness. Like, Richie, you remember playing Pro Evolution Soccer back in the day when you'd be like Manchester Red versus Manchester Blue, Merseyside Red and Tyneside, and it's just like it loses so much when it's David Beckham, and it's like really, it misses something. So within all these brands, obviously they've got all the leagues and the licenses, so it's interesting. So I kind of just thought I'll throw it over to you, Richie. If FIFA was not going to be called FIFA, what would you call it?
I don't know. This is the thing. I've never even, before I heard the stories, like, it just seemed an odd thing that they would do, because the FIFA I think is better known for being a game than an organisation. Yeah,
I think it really is, like, especially globally.
If you say FIFA to someone, they're probably thinking the game and not the organisation that is the governing body for international football.
Yeah, it really is. Even when you think about the competitions, you say it's the World Cup. You don't say the FIFA World Cup. You just say the World Cup. Just like no one calls it the Barclays Premier League. You just call it the Premier League. And FIFA is the game. When someone says FIFA, like, I immediately just think of, football.
I wonder if part of the thought is like they've realised that, well, FIFA is maybe the Federation for International Football Associations. I think that was right.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's also other organisations in there. Like, you got things like UEFA, which govern football in Europe in general. You got the FA, which governs football in England. So associating with one of these, and there's a lot of push and pull between UEFA and FIFA at the moment as well. Especially with the
Super League.
The Super League and stuff. So I wonder if maybe this is a part of the thinking is. My assumption would be that the licenseship deal is coming towards a natural break point, at the point where it's okay, it's time to renegotiate, which will happen over time. They probably signed maybe a 10-year deal last time, whatever it was. So it just makes sense, actually, you would have put these considerations. This is probably a non-starter, in my opinion. I think it will be FIFA 23 and FIFA 24, because I think eventually, the marketing team will win out and go, you know what? Why are we doing this? What we have.
Of all the things to change, why would you change the name? I mean, we've seen in real life football, if you change the name of the stadium or the team name, we've seen it. People try and do it. Like, Richie, you're a Newcastle United fan like myself.
I am.
Sports Direct Arena, anyone? Go fuck yourself, Mike Ashley.
It's one of them. It's one of them things. It's one of them weird things in football. With a football club like Newcastle United, it's technically a business. It was owned by Mike Ashley. His business owns the stadium. He can call it whatever the hell he likes. That's well within his rights. All the fans turn around and go, "No, it's St James's Park, mate."
But I don't know what would you call it. Like, even Pro Evolution Soccer isn't called that anymore. It's eFootball. So.
But they've completely changed the model, so that's effectively a different game now.
True.
You can almost see it's like Pro Evolution Soccer ended, and eFootball is now the new thing going forward.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of them are just NFL is just the name of the league, but obviously that's on a smaller scale. It's only America. You've got PGA is just the name of the golf tournament, right?
The Professional Golfers Association.
So kind of FIFA does work in line with like all of their other franchises. Does. So
it's with the other franchises like NHL and PGA. I think they are smaller. Like they don't have 17,000 athletes. Like the NHL is largely just in the US.
Yeah.
Where FIFA is in the US, it's in the UK, it's in the rest of Europe, it's in Africa, it's in Asia, it's in Oceania, it's literally everywhere.
It's the world sport, as some would say.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a case of they've looked at like what eFootball's done. It's like, well, you know what? We're paying all this money for the FIFA license just to have that name in our game. Do we even need that anymore? Now that PES, its own real competition, is no longer there.
Yeah. But I'm sure I can speak for everyone UK side when I just say, please just don't call it Soccer 23. don't do that decision.
EA, if you're listening, FIFA's fine. Everyone knows what it is. You just. I get you're gonna have these kind of discussions. I think it's just perfectly normal to have them, but I really think this is a non-starter.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm happy to just keep calling it FIFA. It's just so when you call your friends and go, "Do you want a game of FIFA?" It just works.
Yeah.
Just don't ruin it.
The thing is, they'll rename it EA Football, and everyone will still refer to it as FIFA.
Oh yeah. Well, for a good while. Right then, speaking of things we refer to, I mentioned it earlier in the show. Far Cry 6. I've been playing Far Cry 6. Really enjoying it so far. I've met the big bad, Anton Castillo, and his son. I've done the opening chapters, which a lot of the opening scenes, I've realised, were part of the trailers. So actually, if you've seen the trailers, you've not seen that much beyond the opening kind of 20 minutes of the game, which is great, because then I have no clue where we're going after the fact. But yes, I've met some of the characters. I'm playing as female Danni. I thought she seemed like she had a lot more about her than male Danni, kind of making that decision. But what I'm really enjoying so far, which is very different, is when you get to cutscenes, Richie, it is in third person. So you actually see your character for the first time in a long, long time in a Far Cry game. So you obviously play in first person, but whenever any cutscene happens, you actually see your character, which I think does go a long way to telling a story. When I can see the person, I can relate to the person. I'm playing probably upwards of 50, 60 hours as that character. Never being able to hear their voice or see their face does always take something away from me in games. Like the silent protagonist is just such an old trope of video games now.
I like the silent protagonist, but in the right game, a silent protagonist works in a proper hardcore RPG where what everything the character is, you're putting into it. Mm-hmm. Something like an Elder Scrolls, where you're basically playing a blank slate. Mm-hmm. So your character is what you want it to be. Yeah. But where something like that, like a Far Cry, where it's not really that, give me an actual character.
Yeah, well, it works really well, and funny enough, I'm pretty sure in the opening 3 minutes of you picking your character, one of the other people turns to you and says, "Are you gonna effing say something then?" And I think it's almost like a nod to saying the past few games it has just been a silent protagonist, and then you're responding to talks and you pick your character, and it kind of the story kickstarts from there. But very much similar Far Cry gameplay. I've got Guapo is my little pet companion alligator. I've gone with an alligator to start with. He's really funny. He wears a t-shirt, which you can change. You can customize, of course. Game graphics during cutscenes, not that great. I think it's just the Ubisoft thing where they're using the same engines, and it's the rendered cutscenes, beautiful, stunning, gorgeous. But when you are seeing these in-game cutscenes, it does look a little bit rough around the edges, like the paws on people's skin and stuff just doesn't look as good as I'm now accustomed to, especially after playing the likes of Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 and such. There's a definitive drop in quality when you get to these open world games, which is understandable.
These open world and multi-platform games. The games you just referenced are both PlayStation Studios.
I'm just spoiled on that one as well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't detract from it. The gameplay is really fun. Crazy weapons. I've already got a backpack that shoots rockets out, so it's very much still Far Cry, batshit crazy inspired. And I'm just looking forward to more. I'm actually really enjoying the world because it's this kind of sun-baked. I think it's based in the Caribbean, the island that you're taking part on. And it is just lush, beautiful to walk around, loads of bright colours, really popping, crystal clear blue seas and such. So, when games are just they're visually nice to look at, so you're just enjoying being in that world. Yeah. It's more of that as well. So I'm going to play them all. I'll give you my like kind of deeper meaning, thoughtful views once we get into it. But yeah, and you're thinking of checking it out with Ubisoft Plus at some point?
Yeah, well, I've been very open, like with my thoughts on Far Cry, where it's just never really, none of the Far Cry games have ever really gripped me, but I have always been intrigued by them. So this is why I haven't bought it on launch, because I haven't got it yet, because I don't feel the need to jump in immediately. It's not one of them games where, for example, when Horizon Forbidden West goes out, you can damn well bet I'm playing that day one.
Yeah.
But Far Cry hasn't quite gripped me to that level in the past. So yeah, as I said, probably once I finish Persona, I'll probably get Ubisoft Plus, and Far Cry will probably be one of the first games I boot up.
Jump into and check out. Well, when we do that, Richie, we should also point out, as part of the community blog post this week, Team Stadia confirmed that Far Cry 6 actually has launched with Stream Connect as well. So there's no... basically, when you play the game in co-op, I can jump into your world, you can jump into my world, and we can basically just help each other out. It's only player one who keeps the progression, which is a bit frustrating. Like, if I do 20 missions with you, and then I leave your party, I'm still at the exact same point in my story. Which I understand, because...
That's rough, though.
Yeah, I get it from both sides of things, because you might want to play it yourself. There should be an option to just toggle it on or off. Like, if I'm up to story chapter number 5 and you're only on 2, like, how do you line up the worlds if we're both at different starting points? So I get why it does it, but yeah, doing so much hard work and graft, and then you do keep like your level experience and your weapons and your ammo. You just don't progress the story in your world. But either way, you can jump in, Stream Connect. I've seen Sunny check it out, Sunny Cloud Gaming, and it runs great. You've just got that little screen in the bottom corner, like we've done with Division in the past, and it works great. And I can't believe more games don't use this, but more importantly, you don't really hear about it, and it's such a unique, great feature, especially in multiplayer
Siege
games.
doesn't utilise it.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
And of course, remember, if you do buy Far Cry or FIFA or anything else, until the 12th, so you've got today, I think the 12th, the cut-off point for that Premier Edition promo.
Yeah, I believe so.
So either way, you got a day at the time of listening on Monday. But that's it for Far Cry 6 for now. We'll no doubt hear a bit more about that. It's DLC, it's content, and of course, Blood Dragon, which has been delayed until next year, coming eventually.
It's Blood Dragon's the one I'm most looking forward to, because it's just how hyped you've been for it and how batshit crazy it seems to be.
But in a weird way, though, now we can get Far Cry 6 out of our system and then enjoy Blood Dragon in the new year after we've had Christmas and everything's relaxed and quietened down a bit. Things that may not be coming anymore, though, unfortunately, Richie. The Grand Theft Auto Trilogy on Stadia. We had rumours, the Kotaku article that came out earlier in the year pointed towards it being on Stadia, and yet Rockstar have came out now and they've finally made it clear. They've put a tweet out, a full tweet thread and an article on their website basically confirming that it's coming to PlayStation, Xbox, PC and Nintendo Switch later this year. So that is focused on full remasters for GTA 3, Vice City and San Andreas. And however, no mention of Stadia.
Do we know if the Switch port is a cloud gaming port, or is it actually just straight
They've not
up?
Confirmed yet. They have also confirmed that it's going to be coming to iOS and Android in the first half of 2022. But
that's a weird choice, but okay.
I mean, you can get them on already on iOS and stuff. I think I own Vice City maybe on Android. I bought it years ago. But either way, this one's coming with...
I suppose I'd say it's a weird choice, but with things like the Razer Kishi now...
but graphical improvements and modern gameplay enhancements for all three titles. But yes, they are being very coy on specifics yet. We'll probably hear more in the coming weeks. But this goes back to that. I've seen loads of people on Twitter saying, like, oh, it's logo gate again, and is it coming? Will they confirm? I genuinely think these three titles are all coming to Stadia. I think the Kotaku article had enough inside sources. They would not mention Stadia because we know news journalists, gaming journalists specifically, like to avoid Stadia. Unless it's a clickbait article, they won't mention it at all. So the fact that Kotaku mentioned it makes me think that, oh, really, they've got an inside person who said we're working on these ports. It's coming to iOS, Switch, and Android. Like, that's got to be a get for Stadia. It really, really does. And we do have Red Dead Redemption from Rockstar, so we know they work on the platform.
And there's still rumours of, like, the next gen of GTA 5 as well coming.
Delayed to next year now as well, yeah. Because these three titles were supposed to be a reward bundle for purchasing GTA 5 again, supposedly.
So,
do we think this is just a classic stealth drop moment where we're not going to hear about it until a random blog post going, GTA is out now, fill your boots?
I think so. I really do. And that's probably why I'm never going to buy it on Stadia.
Ooh.
Because it's honestly... It's at the point where I've talked to death about the stealth drops and how I think the terrible idea for both the consumer and Stadia themselves. So, unless it's the game that I look at as, this is a must-play game, if you decide to stealth drop it, I'll just buy it somewhere else. Like, because it's like, yeah, I want to know what's coming up. I want to I know I can get this on PC. I know I can get it on my PS4. I know I can get it on my PS5. I can even get it on my Switch. There's 4 platforms I can buy this already. So, Google, all you need to do is put your name in that ring, and then you'll be in the conversation. But if you don't, why should I buy it from you?
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. We've said many times on this show about a clear roadmap and telling your audience what's coming and what to look forward to. And yeah, I mean, GTA is like it's its 20th anniversary now for GTA 3.
Yeah.
So these games have been in our ecosystem for so long. And yeah, a random community blog stealth drop, it will get hype and buzz for the day. But guess what? You could have had weeks of hype and buzz of people looking forward to and talking about and waiting to play these awesome titles on your platform. But instead, you're going to get a day or two's worth of immense hype around like launch, but you're missing out on the build-up. That's part of the fun.
Think of it this way: you're someone who's in the market for a new console. You're a big GTA fan from back in the day. You're a lapsed gamer. And you want to get back into it, you're excited by this, and you go, "Oh, it's not on Stadia." Then that means immediately Stadia is off your radar.
It's not an option.
You're going to go, "Well, this game that I'm interested in isn't on your platform, so I'm going to look at it." Even if it does come to your platform, they may have already made the decision by then.
Well, that's it. Decision making. If you're in a restaurant and you're looking at the menu and they come over and say, "Oh, by the way, we don't have that on the menu," you go, "Okay," you make your mind up for something else. If they come back 5 minutes later and say, "Oh, actually, we do have that," you've maybe already made your mind up about wanting something different at that point. So, interesting one. We'll keep watching this, of course, very loosely because there is still a chance it's just not coming at all, and we're just reading too much into these articles because silence is deafening, and we're going to speculate if we don't know, folks. Hopefully, they will. I do genuinely think we'll probably see them on the platform before Christmas. Hopefully, we just give us a connect. Give us a birthday connect on November and say, yeah, this is coming, this is what we're doing next year. Sorry for being silent for like 10 months.
It's not even give us a connect, give yourself one.
Yeah, give yourself one. Treat yourself.
You deserve it, Sadie. You got a fantastic platform, but your silence is crippling it.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in SideQuest again, about expanding to different countries and just like how they're missing opportunities by remaining silent. But more about that later. A story I did want to bring up, Richie, is, of course, Stadia Games Entertainment closed back in February. We know this, journalists like to remind us all the time. But Jade Raymond, of course, who was one of the heads over there, she was building an entire new team. She did an interview this week with gamesindustry.biz, and I watched the whole interview. It was about half an hour long with Christopher Dring over there, and it was really just nice to hear, because she's obviously broke away now. She's created a brand new studio called Haven Studios. They're working on an exclusive gaming partnership with PlayStation. The team's obviously very, very small at the moment, and they're looking at a single-player game, narrative-driven, so right in our wheelhouse of what we love to play. And I can't wait to see what it looks like on PlayStation. But there was a few things from the interview which I really wanted to pick out, and the highlight for me was that she said in the interview that Google actually gave her the blessing to go away and create a game pitch to take away to other people. So bear in mind, like, the team was made effectively redundant, but rather than just keep them working there to the last day, the team at Google and Stadia allowed her and her team to create an entire game pitch to go pimp out to other companies and developers. And weirdly enough, the first person they went to and they got the green light for was Sony PlayStation. So the game that was arguably probably being incubated for Stadia will now be an exclusive on PlayStation platforms, which it's a bit bitter, if I'm honest, to hear that. But at the same time, like kudos to Stadia and Google for just letting her crack on with her dream and the team's goal, rather than shutter it all and copyright it and such.
It's all. I think in some ways, I think Google probably had to when they've made a decision. Oh, by the way, all of you guys, pretty soon you're going to be made redundant.
Mm-hmm.
All this work you're going to be doing, we don't want it anymore. It's kind of if they want to where they know Jade Raymond's going to go start a new studio or rejoin a Ubisoft or an EA, or she's going to go on to continue doing awesome things in the industry. You don't really want to burn that bridge by being a twat in the situation, so giving her the blessing and going, you know what, take your work, you can take it.
Yeah,
because it's not going to be profitable for Google to sit on it. They're not. It's not like they're making other games that they can go, well, we can strip the assets or these concepts down, move them elsewhere.
Very true.
It's this would just be data that was sat on their servers.
Yeah, very true. There was a few snippets from the interview which was really great. So that was a fantastic one because I thought, great, they've give her a blessing to go and sell it. And as someone who probably will most likely buy the game on PlayStation when it comes out and play it, and it sounds great for everything they're doing so far. She went on to say the team is essentially the exact same team, just under a new guise of Haven Studios now. There was just a few quotes where the interviewer kind of pushed her on her time with Stadia, and she came out and actively said the technology was amazing. You have to admit what Stadia has managed to pull off in terms of streaming tech is cutting edge. So just going back to everything, we already know that the tech behind Google Stadia is phenomenal. And it's definitely the front runner in our opinion in terms of the performance and such. And then she went on to basically say, building a brand new studio during a pandemic from the ground up, everything they had at Stadia was in the cloud. And she went on to reiterate that it helped them build a brand new studio in the cloud. And right now, all of their processes and their making are in the cloud. She said all of their team have Alienware laptops and they can basically rock up at any location, open it up. One of their engineer team just adds some assets in for a new employee, and boom, they've got everything they need to design the game in the cloud. Barely any limitations, and she put a lot of that onus on the team at Stadia and the tech that they got familiar with over the first year.
Basically, she's went to Google. She's learned a lot from how Google operate, having all data centralized working in the cloud and all that sort of stuff, and it's kind of set her up perfect to launch a studio in the middle of a pandemic, where everyone is forced to work from home.
Yeah. But I just want to highlight, because I think again we haven't heard anything. We didn't hear much from Jade when she was at Stadia, aside from I think the initial, maybe when she took the job. I think they did a little press piece about we're glad to welcome an industry veteran with all this experience, and then we know Stadia like to be quiet for months on end anyway. We're never going to probably see what the fruits of their labours were. So hopefully, I'm just looking forward to seeing what this could. It's kind of going to be.
We will get to see the fruits of the labours, but with the Sony Studios logo probably slapped on it.
Yeah, but that doesn't bother me because we're both big PlayStation fans anyway. So it's just interesting to think. I'm going to boot up that game. I'm going to see maybe the PlayStation Studios logo. I'm going to enjoy whatever game it looks like, and there's going to be a moment where I'm probably going to pause the game and just think, this could have been Stadia's first true exclusive AAA title, and yet. We'll never know. But again, good luck to Jade and the team. She spoke very well in the interview, and again, had nothing but praise for the people she worked with and met at Google. And I'm glad everything left on good terms.
Yeah, it seems to be quite amicable. The split is I think she's quite, as an executive herself, she's probably understanding of the reasons why Google have changed their strategy.
Again,
and there's not much more you can do really.
Exactly, but looking forward to seeing what it is. And hopefully we will hear some more stuff from a previous employer.
You never know, we might see a Haven game come to Stadia in the future, her next game.
Yeah, they might have some kind of backwards deal on that one. You can take all the assets, but think about us when the game blows up and goes massive in your studios, award-winning, everything else.
Haven's technically, I think they've got something she says in an interview, about 55 staff.
Yeah.
But it's technically, and she's one of the biggest names in the industry, and it's an indie studio.
Yeah. So we shall
it's
see.
Literally it's the definition of an indie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. We'll see. Time will tell. Of course, it's probably still going to be several years until we see anything substantial come out. So. But
it might be sooner actually, because if she's took a lot of the assets from Google, that means for the 2 years she was there.
Yeah, for the developing on Unity or something. But we'll see. Games that, of course, are out and were timed exclusives to Stadia. Orcs Must Die 3. Our next news story of the week is they've announced Cold as Ice. Of course, famed Foreigner song. You're as cold as ice. Willing to sacrifice. That's the song.
I'm out, guys. Bye.
See you later. They've got some new DLC coming. November 11th, they tweeted out saying, announcing Orcs Must Die 3 DLC, Cold as Ice, coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, PS4, and Steam November 11th, which led to a lot of people tweeting at them, Richie, saying, Stadia, ? Because the last update was delayed. It came after the fact, but no, on the Twitter video itself, they did clarify, of course, it's coming to Stadia. Players must now battle against the all-new, I want to say Cyclops race, because it says in the article Cyclopean race? I don't think that's a word. Cyclops shamans use their totems to disable traps, while the Cyclops mesmerize tracks in a powerful arcane eye ray. So basically, new villains, new modes, deactivate traps, and again, they have confirmed it's coming to Stadia. At the exact same time.
More Orcs Must Die, basically.
Yeah, again, we loved this game when we played it. We just wanted it to have more players. Like it was only 2-player online, which still baffles me. They've not expanded it to four more players, like a team of 4. The game just is more fun with more people. There's nothing you're really taking away from it.
Yeah, just have a bigger map. Have a 4-player mode. You can leave the 2-player modes as is. You don't have to try and expand the levels designed for 2 players into 4. Yeah. But just start adding in 4-player maps.
Indeed. But Orcs Must Die 3. It's kind of annoying that Stadia isn't in the tweet. They've barely used half of the character allowance on Twitter, and yet they managed to mention every platform except for Stadia, even though it's in the trailer. Yeah. It just goes to show this is a team that developed a game exclusive. Remember, Orcs Must Die was touted as only being able to be made in the cloud when it initially launched. They teased it. Using the power of the cloud for all of these enemies on screen at once. And we're now at a point where when they tweet out about the DLC, they don't even mention the platform that essentially set them up on the way. But we digress, of course. I'm sure the guys at Robot Entertainment don't mean anything by it. Fill your boots with Cold as Eyes when it comes out next month. Pretty much a month to the day, Richie, in fact. And we like a good roadmap over here at Helix Cloud Games. And what better roadmap to expand on than Assassin's Creed Valhalla? One of the final stories for the week is development of Valhalla is continuing into the winter season. We know they're already going to be doing a year 2 worth of DLC. And first up, they've got the Oscoria Festival coming later this season, which I think is just like a wintertide festival. I think they did a similar thing last year when it launched. It was kind of like the in your main camp in the game. There's like a little a new like colony comes in and they're celebrating and drinking games and stuff.
I remember that. It was like it was one of them wee moments that I was playing pretty much on launch. It's like I kind of wish this wasn't this seasonal event wasn't here right now.
Soon,
I kind of want to just play the game.
Yeah, I think I jumped in. I did like a drinking game or 2 and was like, yeah, I'm not gaining anything for this. I'm going to go back to the campaign now. But this time round, hopefully it'll be a bit more timely. People have probably finished the main campaign, if not a long time ago. I, of course, myself, I've finished Wrath of the Druids now, finished Siege of Paris, so I've actually got no reason to go back into Valhalla, so maybe this will be it. But instead of that, they said instead the festival this year seems to be based more on folk myth of a monstrous Viking wild hunt led by Asgardian raiders and sometimes Odin himself. An image of the event does look appropriately spooky. There has been a few title updates to Assassin's Creed recently. I think it now runs at 60 on Stadia, which I saw loads of people were happy about.
Yeah,
which is all again constant game improvements from Ubisoft. They know what they're doing. Other game updates. We've got the big title. We've got the free expansion coming on October 19th, so not too long from today, and that will be the Viking History Tour mode. Richie, I don't know if you've checked it out in Origins or Odyssey beforehand.
I haven't, but I am a big fan of the concept.
Oh, it's so good. Like, again, I loved Assassin's Creed Origins because I just have a big affinity for, I think, Egyptian mythology. And you just got to walk around it with almost like a virtual tour, like a voice in your ear telling you how they mummified things, what the sarcophagus was for. And if you were a child in school learning about ancient Egypt or ancient Britain or ancient Greece, and you got to play through this beautifully stunning, gorgeous thing and learn and do your homework via a video game. Like, that's just like young Chris would be like over the moon with that.
Yeah, your mum comes in, put the game down. It's time to do your homework. I am. I've got an assignment on the ancient Egyptians, and I'm walking through the pharaoh's tomb.
Yeah.
What really? Yeah. Look,
It's so good. It's so good. And I'm just happy they've continued this. I know Tom's a teacher, and I remember talking to him about, I think it was the one when the Odyssey version came out, and he just said, having this to like just showcase your class, and even if it's just like you got it up on the big screen in the classroom and let a child take turns on the controller, and as a class you walk through and talk about what they're seeing and what can you see, what's on the tables, tell me about it. It's such a good way of learning. Even
outside of formal education setting, what it does is it can inspire people. A kid could just like, oh yeah, I'm going to mess on with this mode, and then they're reading like the tooltips, listening to the videos, and like they're learning. But in the game, it makes it like that sort of education a lot more approachable, and it can inspire people like just to learn more. Like, well, in the case of Valhalla, we're actually kind of learning about our culture, like the UK, origins of our culture, because set in the UK. So it doesn't, like, I think so many, like, through video games, I feel like I have such a better grasp on like certain things and parts of the world that I would never have got to see, especially with like the Assassin's Creed games. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, like my passion for this franchise comes from the amount it's buried in like kind of ancient history and stuff. I just think it's really interesting. I enjoyed it in school, and I get to live it and play it out in real life in a video game where I control the character. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, Discovery Tour. Can't wait to see what this one looks like. And like you said, Richie, it's our culture over in the UK. Like, I've been to the Jorvik Viking Museum in York, but playing and running around in ancient York, or Jorvik as it should rightly be called, like learning about everything, like, it just has so much potential. I can't wait to see what it is. And usually there is a few achievements attached to it as well. So for those achievement hunters out there, they're easy ones. It's just kind of like explore chapters 1 through 3 of Discovery Mode. And can't wait. Can't wait to see what it is. We should also point out it will have a standalone version on PC as well. So that's cool.
I think that's just more for if you are buying it, probably for just educational purposes. You don't have to buy the whole 120-hour murder rampage experience of killing part and parcel with it. Yeah. But yeah, all the same, more fun to be had in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I'm sure probably turn of the year we will hear about what year 2's got. Because they have announced that they're going to be making an entire second year. So, interesting. Do you think we'll see another Assassin's Creed game next year? What do you think? Because I feel like Ubisoft are they're coming round to this. We don't need to get one out all the time now.
I like the idea for Assassin's Creed, a 2-year cycle. I think that's nice.
Yeah.
Especially if they're supporting it throughout. So those who want to stay in that world and stay invested, they're getting all the DLC. But for those who aren't, and it gives a bit more time for the next team to polish the newer game, and really work on the concepts rather than just trying to rush things out the door.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think end of next year will be a good time for a new Assassin's Creed. So again, but now I'm thinking I could see a Game Awards. I really can. I can see they're doing a segment on the roadmap for Game Awards for the year 2. But then also a quick tease of the next one.
I know the big rumor, of course, is they're still going to do like feudal Japan, but I feel like Ghost of Tsushima's filled that gap now. Like, is it going to look better than Ghost of Tsushima? Probably not. Is it going to play the same? Yep. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting how these things
There's a different
go.
story.
Oh yeah,
but I could see like just a very, very like the game was like, oh yeah, he's the trailer. He's what year 2 of Valhalla's going to look like. And then like a kind of just screen. You just see like some cherry bottoms, and then you see the logo, and that's it.
Yeah,
like, and then we'll pay more at E3.
Yeah. I like them to do ancient China as well. I'm a big fan of Dynasty Warriors.
That could be a way.
Like, that's actually a great point. Now I've thought of that out loud. Like my knowledge of like ancient Chinese folklore mythology comes from Dynasty Warriors. Like I know so many heroes from those stories and the way the battles planned out and the 3 families and stuff and the kingdoms, Wu Shu and Wei and stuff, like all just from Dynasty Warriors on PlayStation 2 all the way through. And I've not played one of them games in ages, so yeah, plenty of stuff. Of course, they're always looking for that next best thing, and I think one day they'll go back to Ezio in Italy. I really like Rome. I really, really do think that. But a matter of time will tell. Just like with sales units, because the final story of the week, wrapping things up, we have Resident Evil 7 has officially shipped over 10 million units. Capcom has announced. So that's interesting to see that the horror reboot franchise is kicking things off. Of course, we know Assassin's Creed Village had a terrific launch earlier this year, beating, I think it was like Steam's sales records for the year to date. I don't know if it's been beaten by now. Personally, I think we enjoyed 7 more than we did Village in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah, I think there was a bit more to 7 than there was Village.
It felt more horror tropey. I think Village very much turned into like an action shooter by the end of it. I enjoyed the stuff with like Lady Dimitrescu a lot more in the earlier parts of Village, whereas the end got a bit
when you still felt a bit underpowered.
Yeah,
and she was kind of wandering around the mansion. Is like, there she is. We need to find a different way around.
Yeah, it was like with Jack in Resident Evil 7, Jack Baker and his shovel chasing you around with that one. Similar to that, the house, I forgot, is it Madam? You know, the little blob baby that was in the basement. That was scary as shit. But yes, Resident Evil 7, the reason I mentioned that one is just because it's sold so well, of course, 10 million. The franchise is very much alive and well on Stadia. I'm still hoping, Richie, for those ports, I think Resident Evil 2 Remake, that's currently at 8.6 million units sold. But with the rumour of Resident Evil 4 Remake being like the kind of the next project, probably for, funnily enough, spring next year, when all the other games are coming out, I think we'll see it early next year. Maybe at the Game Awards.
They seem to be alternating. Everything we're saying at the moment is going to Game Awards.
Yeah.
I think that's because it's like, okay, we're expecting these games to be like early to maybe like middle of next year, maybe into late next year, and they haven't formally been announced. Well, we've got the Game Awards around the corner, so that would be a nice place for them to be.
Oh, absolutely. But I would just love another kind of like 1-2 punch of, right, Resident Evil 4 Remake is announced. It's coming to Stadia. But 2 Remake is on Pro right now, and 3 will be available next month as well. Like something like that. We know they gave Capcom, 10 million to port Village in 7. 10 million is an absolute steal. Like, give me those remakes, and 100% you and me got to play through them again, because like we started 2 on Halloween like 3 years ago now. We got to the halfway point, and then we've never gone back to it.
We played one evening. That's what we did.
We did, yeah, and it was great. It was great fun as well. But yeah, we'll have a check out. We'll keep an eye on that one, and that brings us to a close on the news. But before we go, I do want to point out that there's also a new Resident Evil movie coming out. Releasing on the 3rd of December in the UK anyway. Welcome to Raccoon City. I don't know if we need another Resident Evil movie maybe, but this one is apparently focusing on the stories told within the video game. So yes, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. It's Sony's probably second attempt at this, because it's been Mila Djokovic the whole time, if I'm not mistaken, as like the main.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think she's finally retired and moved on to Monster Hunter as her other franchise now for movies. I mean, if you watch the trailer, it looks like it could be fun, but I wouldn't take it too seriously. That some of the animations are gorgeous, other ones not so much. And I was saying to you pre-show, some of the actors they've got on board, it's like Greg Berlanti's team who did like Arrow and The Flash and stuff on TV. He's pulled a few of those actors out of there, but I feel like there's a few moments when the movie's probably going to need some really serious, hard-hitting acting ability, and I don't think the cast, no disrespect to the casters, but they don't quite have that theatrical release level that I'm used to. Like, I enjoy Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow as much as the next guy, but there's still a little to be desired when you're talking about like movie level productions. But that's just me getting my critical eye on. Resident Evil movie, Richie, do anything for you?
Not immediately, but it depends how close it stays to the original stories. If it does stay quite close to the original stories, I think that could be an interesting like reboot of the movie franchise. Like, probably if they stay close to the first 3 games, and then continue like, if they decide to go beyond that, stick with like Umbrella, stick with things like the T-Virus.
Yeah.
Almost like I'd almost, as much as I enjoyed 7 and Village, almost stay away from that aspect where things start getting. There's so many different viruses and different stuff that Umbrella are working on in different organisations now. I think their like Resident Evil canon's got a bit messy.
Right.
But this would be a nice. You know what? We're going to go back to our roots. We're going to start with like the mansion, and we're going to take it from there.
Yeah. Well, we said before, interesting. This has got both game's characters inside. I think it's going to be some mishmash. In the trailer, there is like the police station and stuff, so I think it is going to be centered around 2. But where that branches out into, we'll have to wait and see. It definitely looks like it's going to be action-filled and gory, as all Resident Evil stuff should be.
Yeah.
I want to know where Dino Crisis is. That's what I want to see still. I want to see Capcom go back and rejuvenate Dino Crisis like they've done with in the RE engine. Give me Dino Crisis. It scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I should not have been playing that game at that age.
Yeah.
But less about that. Right then, folks, that brings us to the end of episode 107 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Of course, you can like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the things we do here on the channel, not just the podcast, but also our weekly episode of SideQuest with its brand new sexy introduction. Richie, remind the people what we're talking about on this week's show.
We're talking about where should Stadia expand to next.
Indeed. Let us know in the comments and head over there. If you are a member, just like Toby Rogers, Sonny, and Cookie McCrumble now are as well, you get the show 6 days early. You get it actually right now, the same day we record it, this very Sunday. If you want it a little bit early, it's also available on free feeds on Friday mornings. It drops. We are playing games on every Thursday with the community, of course. We play all sorts of Stadia games. Don't know what we're playing this week, but we'll figure that out. We'll find that and get it up on Twitter. Do follow us all. My Twitter handle is @CyberChris2077. Richie, you are at
RichieC89.
And of course, Tom, still away on paternity leave, is at AdaxisLP. Still looking after his baby, getting used to work. Thank you for everyone again who stopped by and raised money for the charity stream this past week. £1,187 was raised for the Alzheimer Society by all you amazing, beautiful people out there. Don't forget to check out the #Caring from the Clouds community streams as well, happening every single week. Of course, with our friend John Scar over on his channel and everybody else's channel as well. That's been it for your Stadium Gaming News this week, everybody. Have a great one. And remember, play wherever makes you the most happy. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia from Hades Cloud Games. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. Game on.